you start to see patterns with people, and it's subconscious or it's pretty obvious straight in your face when you show up on time, prepared, week after week after week after month after year. That's who you are. That's who you become, and that's how you are viewed by your peers and your business peers and your network. So I think, reputation can compound a lot faster than any paid marketing that you do. It's just deeper, it's better. You're going to get better quality clients because they know who you are, and you're going to attract people who operate in that same way. When a brand does a good job at marketing or deciding who they are, they will naturally attract people who are interested in the same thing. And simplicity scales, complexity fails. Building a business on your own is like, I think, it's one of the most rewarding things you can do, but it's one of the most scary and risky things you can do too, right? I'm a music major. Like, I'm not a business major. I didn't go to school to build a business. Like, I just kept going, right? So like, try it, and be humble enough to realize you know, you're not going to succeed on your own. You've got to reach out. You've got to build a network. You've got to learn from other people. You've got to reflect. We're a customer service business. That's what high intensity training is, right? The workout is the tangible service, but it's relational. So talking about your business in front of real people on a regular structured basis, I don't know if there's anything more valuable that you could learn how to do well.
Lawrence Steele here, and welcome back to High Intensity Business, your one-stop shop for growing your strength training business and fueling your passion for high intensity training. Today, I am joined by my good friend and owner of Live Oak Strength, Owen Dockham. Owen, great to be with you after all these years.
Thanks for having me, Lawrence. Excited to be here and chat with you.
Yeah, it's great to be with you. I mean, obviously, we're close friends and we talk all the time, but you haven't actually been on a podcast since 2019, I don't think.
It's been that long. Yeah, a
Which is a
lot's happened.
while. Right. And you have helped me with content, though, I should say, like some awesome stuff you've done in High Intensity Business Pro over the years, which I really appreciate. Particular some stuff on pricing that I actually revisit to this day. So I wanted to kick off this one today by saying, congratulations on all the success you've had with Live Oak Strength. You recently, or we put together a really good post, or you, mostly yourself, on, what has enabled you to achieve the success at Live Oak. And we post that inside our communities. You've built $1 million high intensity training studio business. And today I wanted to go back and talk about the past, talk about the things that brought you to this point today. I've got some of my own questions that I'm just fascinated about and want to ask you about and learn more about the way you think and what makes you tick. So I'm excited. And one of the things I said I would share with you in this podcast is you just said, we're just about to hit record and you're like, I just want to be useful, man. That's my frame. And that really hit me because one of my favorite quotes, and I'm going to butcher this, but it's like when Jim Collins went to visit Peter Drucker, the great sort of business time management theorist, right? He went to visit him. It's probably like a couple of decades ago, a long time ago. But it was just before I think it was, I don't know exactly when it was, to be fair. But he basically sat down in Peter Drucker's home and he said something like, he was young. Actually, this was a long time ago, sorry. So Jim Collins was young and he was hungry and he wanted to be successful. And he sort of said something to Peter Drucker like, how do I be successful? Like, how do I do that? How do I achieve that? And Peter Drucker said, stop worrying about being successful. Just focus on being useful, right? And it's like, yes. And I think a lot of us forget that we're trying to chase, I don't know, money or success when do you just focus on trying to be really valuable to others? Like it's that whole Zig Ziglar quote is similar, right? It's the, help enough people get what they want, you get what you want, etc. But I just love that. And you just reminded me, you took me back to that moment when I first read that. And I was like, yes, that really resonates with me. And I can see it does with you as well.
Yeah, that's my entire ethos, really. It's just be useful. It's what I try to instill in my teammates, all my trainers. And we just try to really be a positive, force in the world with our clients and help them just improve their lives. That's all we do. And, provide an environment where they look forward to coming and being greeted with a warm welcome by first name, where all the trainers on the team know what makes them tick and just give them a consistent, high level customer experience.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
there it is. That's the whole podcast right there. That's all I
Yeah,
got.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's great to talk to you again. And
Yeah. Let's do it again in 10 years.
so let's go back a bit, shall we? So I asked you to prep some notes and you helped me out there. And do you want to bring us back? Just remind everyone like how you got started. Maybe we can give like a high level journey at the beginning, and then I really want to get into kind of how your education shaped what you do now as well, which you were mentioning earlier.
For sure. As I was thinking about this, I was just like looking back at inflection points in my life where is that relevant to discuss? And I do think that HIT was calling me probably when I was 18. I grew up in the Sierra Nevadas in California, rarely left the state, and ended up going to Iowa for college. So probably like one of 10 kids in all of the state of California to go to Iowa. But I went to Cornell College, the lesser known Cornell. There's another one that's famous in Ithaca, New York. But Cornell College is in this small little tiny town in Iowa. And they're really unique for one reason is that they do a one course at a time method. It's not a semester system where you're taking multiple courses at once, but you literally for 3.5 weeks, you're taking one class only. That's it. Piano, music, sports, of course, that would be on a semester, but for 3.5 weeks, you're doing geology 101 or Spanish or music theory or music history, and you're not doing anything else. So you don't have any excuses to your professor that you have other homework, you're so busy. Another thing that's just small, my biggest class was, I think, 23 or 24 students, but we had classes sometimes with just 4 or 5 students and the professor sitting around a kitchen table. So you really have to be alert. And that style of learning is pretty relevant, I would say, to HIT, where you're just focused on one thing. You're going deep, not wide. And you do a semester's worth of work really in
Hmm.
a week and a half. You start week 1, Monday, you're in class. I think it was 2.5 hour lectures or courses per day, like 9:30 to 11, lunch, and then 1 to 3. And so week 1, that starts, then you've got the weekend to do some homework. Then midway through the second week, you're doing your midterm exams. So talk about Parkinson's law, right? Like squeezing whatever the amount of work into the time given, you really learn how to go deep and produce a lot. So I think, I took a lot of that skill set of just learning how to focus on one thing. I do that at Live Oak Strength all the time. So I think that, HIT was calling me back then. And it was also, a period of time where I was heavily focused on my music, and working out and exercise was really a foreign thing to me just because I was intimidated and never felt like I was welcome in the gym or fit in. It was all these just big buff farm boys playing football from like the Midwest, and that was not me, right? So I never felt comfortable in that space, and always trying to kind of figure out how to get exercise into my life. So HIT later on was really, when it came into my life, it was like, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for half my life without even knowing it, because I finally feel home. I feel like this is the only form of exercise where I fit in.
And do you want to just take us to the point where you really got exposed to HIT for the first time? Was that in David DeSisto's facility or previous?
Yeah. Yeah. It was in 2014, I think 15. So I was working a front desk at a chiropractic clinic. I think starting in like 2011. And well, I guess I should back up just a little bit, is that in 2007, after college, I found myself working at Lululemon folding pants. Like this retail shop that high-end yoga pants, $100. And
Which you're
one of my,
always wearing, even to this day.
I actually don't own any more. I have like 3 sweatshirts and 2 pairs of pants, and that's about all I wear.
Ah, yes, sort of
Um,
life.
No, but one of the people I worked with on retail, probably for, 12, $13 an hour at the time, was Diane Sanfilippo. And I'll tell you who she is in a second, but she was just another one of my coworkers, really sweet person, great work ethic. Um, Fast forward a few years, I kind of went into like a dark, quiet, introspective part of my life. A 4-year relationship ended. I moved back to the cabin in the woods where I grew up and just kind of didn't do much. It was kind of like a holding period. It wasn't time wasted, but I was really not moving forward much. Um, and I got a dog and just like kind of did odd jobs. I started teaching some piano again. Um, but after a year, I was like, what am I doing with my life? I need to I need to go back to the Bay Area and figure out who I am, do something with my life. So Luna, my 1-year-old dog right over here, who's no longer with us, she and I just randomly, we moved to Berkeley. I found a roommate who would be cool with a jobless guy like me with a pit bull puppy. And I, and right around that time, I got the job at the chiropractic clinic. I saw a poster, something on Facebook of Diane, who I worked with at Lululemon. So this is like 3, 4 years later, and she's now a New York Times best-selling author. She came out with the
Oh.
paleo cookbook or something, and I was like, what have I done with my life? Like this person I was working retail with 4 years later is now book tours. She's got a following of tens of thousands of people. So she generously, I don't remember if it was an email or a call or just Facebook, whatever, but I was like, tell me your story. How'd you do it? What'd you do? And long story short, she told me about Bowman College. It's a small little nutrition school in Berkeley. I ended up enrolling in that because I was really heavily interested in nutrition anyway. Um, and I had to drop out because at the chiropractic clinic, I got promoted to the office manager and doing rehab assistant. That's where I started to become a personal trainer. And so I had to drop out of Bowman College. And then a year and a half later, they said, hey, if you don't re-enroll, you're going to lose all your credits and have to start the program over. So I jumped back in, and that's when I met Andy Bapkis, who was a
Mm.
student at that same school. And he introduced me to David DeSisto because he's like, oh, you're a trainer too. My mentor is kind of looking for another mentee. It's this weird style of training you probably haven't heard of. I was like, sounds cool, man. Yeah. So I think he told me about Body by Science, ordered it, read it in a weekend, and I was like, yes, this is it.
You know what's interesting? And tell me if this is common where you are, but like the fact that you contacted that woman and was like, "How did you do this? Like, help me."
Yeah.
I think that's quite rare. I think most people, I don't know whether this is a non-American thing, are like envious and never ask for help.
You
So I
have to
think
be
that's
humble.
very telling of who you are and who you became.
I mean, it definitely wasn't an easy decision to make. Like I was going in pretty embarrassed with like, I'm still where I was back then. I haven't developed any new skills. I'm not value. I'm, just kind of struggling. She was super generous and encouraged me to go. She's like, go. And she had done some other things too. I think like she'd gone to the Czech Institute, Paul Czech, and
Oh yeah.
early friends with like Rob Wolf and that paleo, that CrossFit kind of
What's her
community.
name again?
Her name?
Yeah.
Diane Sanfilippo.
Oh, okay. Not familiar. I probably
Yeah.
know the people you're talking about, but yeah.
She's doing other things in her life now too. And, but she still has a great newsletter and things. So
Cool.
yeah, you have to, I'm under no illusion that Live Oak exists because of solely me, right? Like you have to kind of be humble and realize luck plays a pretty big role. I was lucky to meet the right people at the right time, but then
But
also
yeah,
create some luck for myself by being persistent,
right.
right?
You
If I hadn't
created
have made
some of
that
that.
call, I created some
Yeah.
luck. If I hadn't have decided to go back to Bowman and just given up on it, I would have never met the right people that introduced me to the right people, to the right opportunities. Um, so it,
Yeah.
it is a mix of luck and putting yourself out there. So I guess to create your own luck, you just have to put yourself out there more and to give yourself better odds, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like for you when you read Body by Science? Sounds like you enjoyed it if you read it in a weekend. Um, was it like an epiphany type moment for you? And can you also elaborate on, were there moments when you were working with Andy and David at David DeSisto's studio where you were like having aha moments, or was it more gradual? Just curious if
Yeah.
you can take us back there for a moment. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I was working for the chiropractor, bought, she helped me buy the NASM certification. Sorry about that text. Which is just kind of a
You're right.
really low level personal training certification program. And I remember that taking me about a year, just struggle with time management in life. But I think part of why it took me so long is it never felt like it made much sense. I was like, really, I'm going to progress people from strength to balance to like an unstable surface. How is that? I mean, it just kind of, it was my first introductory to like exercise science and like programming, but I still had the common sense, I guess, without any formal education, to be like, is it really necessary to make people sit on a Bosu ball? It just didn't quite add up. So yeah, when I was introduced to Body by Science, it just seemed so much more logical
Mm,
and applicable to a larger portion of the population, right? It just seemed straightforward. And coming from my own struggles, fitting in with exercise culture, I was like, oh, it doesn't have to be complicated. So the simplicity really called to me. And it was an aha moment. What's that Voltaire quote? Obscurity is the refuge of ignorance, something like that. So I
oh,
think
yeah.
that was a clear um, inflection point where it's like, oh, yeah, the clouds could part. And this is something I can really feel good about sharing with people and myself. And then personally, I gained like 4 pounds of muscle with 5 workouts in a month. So it was like, there's that too.
Yeah, that small detail.
That's small
Um,
dude.
Shout out to Dave, DeSisto Strength Training, DesistoStrengthTraining.com. It's
Yep.
in 150 Lombard Street, Suite 4, San Francisco. So if you know anyone
Yeah.
in the area, pay homage to David DeSisto.
I'm sure he
Um,
has a list at the moment. I haven't spoken to him in a little bit,
well,
but he
that is
does.
probably true, but get on the wait list.
He's on the way, but he's one of the best.
Awesome. Yeah, we've exchanged a few emails thanks to you. Um, so thank you for that. And I'm interested to ask you about piano because you were a piano teacher. What stopped you from taking that full time and just becoming like a piano coach? Coach. Yeah.
I, at the risk of being cliche, it's just having your passion be your source of
Okay.
income made me kind of jaded and not enjoy the process as much when you're teaching kids who parents are forcing piano upon them and don't really want to be there. It kind of makes you enjoy the music less. So, um, yeah, that's really it. And it wasn't a really sustainable way to make a living. Just from a practicality standpoint, I was driving to my students' homes with pianos all over the Bay Area
Okay.
in a Toyota Tundra, getting 16 miles per gallon. It just wasn't a practical way for me to really make a living.
Yeah. It's interesting, like you talking about you making contact with that woman who became successful in the paleo space, wrote a successful book. But it's amazing how much progress one can make in a short amount of time. I mean, you were kind of in that kind of place where you were a bit lost, sounds like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
We recorded that podcast in 2018 where, you'd built a successful business and you'd co-founded Everstrong with Abe Williams.
Hmm.
And that was only what is that? That's like less than 10 years. That's like
Yeah.
9 years. Maybe you actually reached that level probably even sooner than that. It's like 5 or 6 years. And I always remember a mentor saying to me, like, you can literally change your entire life in 10 years. And you might be able to even do it even sooner than that, or within 10 years, I guess we can say. And I think that's quite inspiring. Hopefully that's inspiring or liberating for people because if you're not happy in your situation right now and you're listening to this, You could be in
Yeah.
like a radically different place in less than 10 years if you just, focus,
With all the
start fixing.
technology available to
Yeah,
us,
right.
yeah, AI, I mean, I think just things are moving faster and faster and faster, right? So
Yeah.
I think if you really kind of, if you can find the focus and the clarity of what you think you want to create, and you have, again, there's luck and there's access and there's privilege. We can't ignore
Of
those
course.
things all. Just because you have a hard work ethic might not mean you have the resources and the community and the network to make things happen. But if you do have those, let's assume you have those things taken care of. I think, 1 year of deep work and clarity and focus and actually like the work that creates income, right? Income generating activities, not pussyfooting around and like getting stuck in preparation mode, but like actually getting out there and making sales. You could, I mean, you can
Yeah.
make $1 million in less than a year, easy. And it's just really about finding something that people find valuable and being kind and consistent and building a good reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I'm listening to you, I'm like, because I'm thinking about when I moved to Ireland in 2017 and how many mistakes I made since then and errors I made and things that set me back. And things have turned out okay here. And in quite a short time span, in spite of all those challenges as well, like if we're just looking at it purely from a business or financial point of view, throw two kids in the mix and it sort of disrupts things, as you know very well.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
interesting to ponder on that actually. Um,
Yeah.
so
Priorities too.
yeah, absolutely. And we're going to park that actually because I do want to ask a bit about parenting in a minute. But as you know, one of the things that really fascinates me about the success you've had with Live Oak Strength, um, just to bring people to the present or up to speed. 5 trainers, is that correct? 6, including yourself, or 5 total?
Yeah. There's 6 of us.
Excellent.
One, Owen Monroy right now, he's kind of doing some international travel at the moment.
Hmm.
He'll be back in a few months. But yeah, we've got one full-time trainer, Ben Schwab. He's doing awesome. Such a good guy at building rapport and consistencies, doing about 55, 60 sessions a week. Chun Moy is doing 3 days a week, pretty full, 10 to 12, 13, 14 clients per day per shift. Sometimes she'll fill in for me on a Saturday or another trainer. And then we've got Christina and Carlos who are part-time. Christina's got other businesses and stuff she's doing, but Carlos is ramping up pretty rapidly from part-time to, I imagine he'll be on a pretty full-time schedule here in the next quarter, in quarter 1 of 2026 is what it looks like. He's the one that just joined BNI and he's just doing great.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Is it generally speaking, are you normally looking to have your trainers transition away from part-time to full-time? I always get concerned about other things going on and distractions. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it's worked out really well having one main full-time trainer, Ben. Like he's all in. This is what he does, loves it, he's good at it. And then having fill in, but committed. Like, and the Bay Area is expensive, and most people like Chumway, she's an herbalist. She has another business online. It's not a conflict of interest. Christina has a master's degree in strength and conditioning and does some pretty high level like metabolic conditioning with some high end clients in like Marin County, which is a very affluent community in the Bay Area. And having her has really edified us too, just with her education, and she's a great trainer. But yeah, she is very part time because she's got other priorities. So for Live Oak and for me and my life and my schedule, having some part-time is really good because if someone gets sick, we have somebody that can step in and fill in. So having that kind of um, that rhythm is good.
Flexibility. Yeah.
That flexibility
Yeah.
is really good. But absolutely the concerns of only part-time and having some conflicts of interest or distractions, that's definitely happened in previous trainers at Live Oak. So you just got to kind of vet your people and see what they want and what they're up to, what their goals are, where do they see themselves in 6, 9, 12, 5, months, whatever it is.
Sure.
Um, and I think we've gotten a lot more clear on who we are and what we do. So that's naturally kind of attracted the strongest team I've ever had at this point, because it definitely hasn't always been that way.
Right. Yeah. And you've had lots of challenges there. And I know you've obviously learned from that and developed your systems. Um, and that's all part of it. One of my follow-up questions was actually going to be, um, when hiring, the situation you're in where you have part-time trainers who have other things going on, which fair enough, it can make sense given how expensive it is to live in the area. Um, you touched on it a little bit there, but can you give some tips on how you vet trainers who are part-time, who have other things going on, to ensure that, to increase the likelihood that they will be a great fit for your business?
Yeah.
Because you've got to get that right. Because if you don't, and their heart's in other things, it's not gonna manifest well in the studio floor. So I'm just really curious how you vet them.
Bet them.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind. One key part is I think making sure expectations both ways are so clear.
Mm.
What shifts are you available and what shifts does the business need? What are non-negotiable? What would be nice if you could type of things. So that's just kind of like technical, right? But like vetting, Ben was introduced to me from Owen Monroy. Chunmoy was introduced to me from Owen Monroy, and Christina and Owen Monroy used to work together. So I really have Owen to thank
Fair
for
play. Fair
bringing
play, Owen.
amazing people into my life. And so it was already kind of vetted through him, who I
Uh,
trust wholeheartedly, his character and intentions. He's got a heart of gold. So um, they already had a shoe in with me because he trusted them and I trust Owen. So again, a little luck there, but also just networking with people who have big networks, right? So you find the right people. Um, does
mhm.
that answer but
Yeah,
did
but
I get you a little bit?
knowing you and your interest in things, systems like EOS, I assume you have some good litmus tests in terms of like core value fit, like
Yeah,
ensuring that new people are aligned with the mission and believe in what you're doing at Live Oak.
yeah,
Maybe that's a given in your mind, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not a given, and that is something I heavily vet. Is like, do you believe? I don't. Are you passionate in this style of strength training? Like, you can't be like, doing this and then
Yeah.
telling clients like you're going to get better results if you do this and fill in the blank of whatever fad there is out there right now. That's really important. Whether they do it, it's fine. I'm not going to be a stickler if they do other things in their personal life, but as long as it's super clear that they wholeheartedly believe in the power of high intensity strength training and efficient strength training, slow controlled movements to be what is going to move the needle for 99% of people, like that's like a non-negotiable for me. And honestly, I really now have learned after hiring and firing and trainers quitting over the years, like to just trust your gut. I really, some people will be great interviewees. They'll have the experience, the personality, but just you're like, there's just something about this person that's not quite a fit with like our core values or personality, or I don't see them thriving in this environment, connecting easily with our clientele. Um, I haven't had the opportunity to trust my gut yet, but I think we're definitely going to be looking to hire again in 2026. So I'm honestly kind of excited to re-up my interview chops and give it a
That's
shot again. Yeah.
cool. So shifting the conversation to marketing, you're pretty famous, Owen, for growing Live Oak without much quote unquote marketing.
Yeah.
Um, now you and I have recorded, as I said, two podcasts before. I should actually say to everyone, if you enjoy if you've liked what you've learned so far about Owen and Live Oak, and maybe you're in the community and you've read that awesome post where he breaks down like how, how they've been so successful and what they've done, and he really breaks it down well in that post. Go and listen to the podcast we did in 2018. We'll link it up. We'll put it in the description to this video, and we'll put it on the blog and in the community. Or if you can't find it, just ask me, because it's really good. And in that podcast, Owen expands more on the history and the foundations, but there might be some things that we talked about today that we missed stuff that was said in 2018. But you grew the business the most using BNI, right? Business Networking International. And I thought about it, and tell me if this is right. So even though you didn't do much in the way of other marketing, I know you dabbled a small bit, but not a lot. I certainly know not much in the way of paid marketing, paid social, things like that. But when you did BNI, you did BNI, like you committed to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing people maybe miss, or I was missing, because I was doing my homework for this and I was like, oh no, he was like president of the chapter, and you really kind of figured out like your one-liner. So can you remember it now? If I like you on the spot, your 60 seconds or your one-liner, do you remember it?
It's
It's
been a
so good.
while. Is it? Oh,
It's been a
God.
while, isn't it?
Been a while. I should have Carlos do it because he's apparently doing it really well. But my name's Owen Dockham, founder of Live Oak Strength, where we do efficient, evidence-informed slow motion resistance exercise for busy working professionals. A great referral for us this week is a mom in her 40s with 2 kids who used to be an athlete who feels like she just doesn't have the strength and energy to participate in the sports she used to once enjoy.
Beautiful.
Something like that. That'd be one.
Yeah.
Or grandparents who love snow sports. We live in the Bay Area, and tons of people go the 2-hour drive to Lake Tahoe area in the winter, right around now, for snowboarding and skiing. So I would always, around this time of year, shift my pitches toward elderly folks who love skiing and snowboarding. Maybe they take their grandkids up, but they're always having to sit out Sunday because on Saturday, after that, they're done. Their body's sore. I'm looking for grandparents who want to spend all 3 days on the slopes with their grandkids. And that is a testimonial we've gotten dozens of times. It's like, oh my God, Owen, I was able to go out and do like a whole extra day with my grandkids. I didn't have to just sit in the lodge by the fire and drink whiskey and apple cider all day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great. And the fact that you could just kind of reel that off. There was another one you did. It was a really brief one where you're like, we help busy people become the strongest versions of themselves. And I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, you really invested in BNI. You went to town, like helping others. I mean, you contributed like 130 grand to the chapter or something, but you got a return of like a couple of 100,000 in clients. And a lot of your business was obviously based on BNI at the beginning.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind me saying, fine, you weren't doing a lot of things, but you were like narrowly, again, this is the scope of this, a theme in this podcast is being focused and going deep on one thing, right? It's like the saying, who is it? Is it the Bruce Lee saying? I don't fear the man that's practiced 1,000 kicks. I fear the man that's practiced one kick 1,000 times. And is that fair for me to say that? Like, you went deep on BNI, you became really good at it, and and you sacrificed anything else you could have done marketing wise because you just went real hard and focused on BNI.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think BNI, the way it is marketing is you have an opportunity to build a reputation that will make or break you. How you show up. There was always the people that were struggling to look like their feathers had been ruffled and they're coming in 7-8 minutes late. And it's like, that's how you are. And what about, and that's how you are probably running your business, it's, I don't want to make assumptions. Maybe people are just having an off day, but you start to see patterns with people, and it's subconscious or it's pretty obvious straight in your face when you show up on time, prepared, week after week after week after month after year, that's who you are. That's who you become, and that's how you are viewed by your peers and your business peers and your network. So I think, reputation can compound a lot faster than any paid marketing that you do. It's just deeper, it's better. You're going to get better quality clients because they know who you are, and you're going to attract people who operate in that same way. And if I think about now who the majority of our clients are, we're really catering to movers and shakers, like high performing individuals. And it's not necessarily that we weren't in 2015, 16, 17. I would just say a higher percentage of our clientele now are published authors, CEOs of tech startups, Stanford trained doctors, professors, like people who are really like at the top in their industry. I think we had the CEO of one of the well-known health insurance companies in the country was one of our clients, and her partner who was worked with a lot of well, actually she worked side by side on many what am I trying to say, past presidents of the White House. And so,
Oh, well.
these types of individuals are who we serve now, because they get it. Their time is super valuable. They don't want to waste their time.
And you think that's just due to your reputation? Do you think it's also your, the way you position yourself, your pricing, you sort of attract
Yeah.
more of that type of target market, that type of demographic?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now I would say most of our business comes from existing clients, referrals, but also Google reviews. People, well, strength training, obviously, let's back up. Strength training is having a moment, right? I mean, it's a good time to be in strength training. All the massive benefits coming out. People are like, oh, I need to be doing this. I can't, Pilates, yoga is not a substitute for strength training. Everyone's concerned about bone density, longevity. Love him or hate him, Peter Attia, everyone's obsessed with this concept of uh, living independent and well into their old age. So, um, sorry, I got a little off track there. We were going about on
No idea
marketing.
what we were
Just
talking
like,
about. No,
yeah, I know, lost track.
no, no, no,
Anyway,
no, no. We were talking about we were talking about how your business has evolved to attract that type of
yeah,
demographic. Yeah. So I was saying about
yeah,
pricing, and
right.
you were saying
Yeah,
about, oh no, no, sorry. You were saying about things that have drove those people to you. You're talking about Google reviews and just strength training is becoming more popular and driving more traffic your way through
yeah,
various. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we charge a premium, but I think we offer a premium service. I know we offer a premium service, and um, we've created a really lovely space aesthetically. I think it's, people love coming in. There's a lot of natural light, high ceilings, everything's matches. It just looks like anything else that you could go to. And we just have a system and a routine and a community now that just shows up. So that's that's the other thing that I think is super valuable when you get really clear on who you are. I don't remember who this was, some marketer I followed a long time ago, but he's like, when a brand does a good job at marketing or deciding who they are, they will naturally attract people who are interested in the same thing. And he was talking about when he was getting his Infinity car, like his oil change at the Infinity dealership. This is a luxury kind of car. I don't know if Infinity is considered luxury, but he was waiting for his car to be serviced, and the guy next to him struck up a conversation, and they had like 7 hobbies in common. They like lived very similar lives. They went to similar churches, all these things. He's like, Infinity has something that people who value the same things will be attracted to. So I think we've attracted people who are like-minded, and when they come to Live Oak, they look forward to not just seeing us and doing their workouts, but they know who the client is before them and after them. They'll mingle with the cubbies before and after, share their dread of the leg press together, have a few laughs, and it's a whole thing.
Before we go any further, I just want to quickly thank our sponsor, Barvik GmbH. Building a successful strength training business requires top quality exercise machines and a reliable source of spare parts. Sourcing Medix machines, known for their exceptional design and performance, can be challenging, often leaving you dependent on the secondary market. Barvik GmbH, based in Hamburg, Germany, offers a solution. Led by Egger Barvik, who spent over 40 years working with and learning about Nautilus and Medix machines, and also completed a 3.5 year apprenticeship at Mercedes, mastering quality engineering, Barvik produces German engineered Medix machines in India with thoughtful enhancements over their US counterparts. Barvik machines are trusted by happy customers all over the world, including members of the high intensity business community. They're even being supplied in large volumes to major fitness brands like Keiser Training. For example, my former business partner and current HIB member Sean purchased Medix equipment from Barvik for his studio here in Galway, Ireland, and both he and his clients couldn't be happier. From popular pieces like the leg press, pullover, and bicep curl to rarer gems like the super forearm and tibialis, Barvik offers a wide selection of 35 Medix models built higher for easy movement of a pallet jack, zinc-plated weight plates, flat steel core belts instead of carbon fiber, and adjustable 90mm rubber feet. And right now, you can get 5% off a minimum order of 6 machines. Visit medx.eu, tell the team what you need, and choose the machines to grow your business. That's medx.eu, medx.eu. And now, back to the episode. Let's dig more into this reputation idea. And if we can, I'd love to try to like operationalize this as much as we can. So people can listen to it and then kind of figure out what can I do every day that gets me closer to building this reputation that's going to help me grow this business. So where do we start with that, do you think?
Just because it's on top of my mind, Ben and I were in the trainer lounge kitchen at Live Oak just the other day talking about just like how much fun we have at Live Oak together, working together, and the clients. We're just talking about different clients. And Ben's very generous with telling me things he thinks I do well. And I sought feedback out from him too. But he's like, one thing you do and you do well and you do often and consistently is check in with clients. Like I couldn't tell you how many times a week I do it, but if I were to guess, it would probably be over 20 times a week. I will send a text or an email. Not very many phone calls anymore these days, but if I see an article or a client had a win or a struggle or something, I am always reaching out to check in with them, and it's consistent. And maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't, but I think those touch points are invaluable. And
It does matter for sure.
Show that you care. And I care. Like I care deeply about every single person that walks into Live Oak. There's a few clients now I have still not met, that just because of schedules. And I still want to make sure that those people know I'm always available for them to reach out if they have feedback, questions, support, scheduling, whatever it is, be useful. And that's how I've found an easy way for my life that's full with kids and, employees and family and land ownership and just all the craziness of life. That's an easy way for me. And I think an easy way for most people. If your software offers two-way text, great. If not, you should get one that does.
Does yours?
Yes. Yeah. We use Wellness Living and it has two-way text. And it's, you can type.
Meaning if you send out an automated thing, they respond, you can respond back.
Yep. Yeah. We can converse back and forth. Yeah. It doesn't accept pictures and images, which is kind of like some people will be like, hey, I got these. What do you think? I'm like, I can't. It doesn't accept photos. I'm like, hey, can you email me? But yeah.
Just say, don't buy it. Don't buy that thing. Don't buy whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Exactly. Yeah. Not worth it.
Now, is that ad hoc? Like you just go, oh, I'm going to text this person or email. I mean, you have at this stage, 100 clients plus. How do you possibly remember to make sure you're touching base with everyone? Or do you have a system for this?
Pretty ad hoc, honestly.
I knew you'd say that.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't have a system for it. I've tried to be
Yeah.
honest. I'd be like, hey, every day I'm going to reach out to 5 people. You could do that if that's how you operate. But I think, be honest with how you operate. I just, throughout the day when I have a moment, I just, if I think of somebody, I don't think about, oh, should I call them? I just do it. I don't like hesitate. I just do it right in the moment. And I think that's a key part of growing a business with systems is like you can carve out deep work time. And I think that's valuable and I could do better with that. But I think you can't wait for the stars to align all the time to get work done.
Mm.
If you have an idea in the moment, even if it's as little as like, oh my God, I just read this article. It was one of our colleagues. What's his name? He's got great little tidbits on Facebook. Richard Wolf. Richard? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Meta.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a great one
Got a
about the
Richard.
value of training when you're injured, right? Cross education and how just keep the healthy tissue healthier in the injured limb, or even if you're in back pain or whatever it is. And I sent this to a woman. She just had surgery. She's been in a boot. I'm super proud of her. She's been training as soon as she was able to come in with crutches, like 4 workouts, she's got crutches. We're just going along. And then last week she came in weight bearing, no crutches. And I'm just, authentically proud. So I sent her Richard's article. I was like, hey, just read this, made me think of you. Super proud of you for trusting me and trusting yourself to continue to strength train despite being in a boot because of the surgery.
Nice.
Um, and she just like responded, wow, that's great information. Thanks so much for sharing.
So
So do
that's
that.
amazing. That's amazing. And I do the same thing. And I love that. Now, here's what's interesting is that I can relate to this. I've probably got a similar number, maybe even more in my case, of people that I'm trying to keep up with and add value to and check in with, right?
Yeah.
And my concern doing it your way is I'll miss someone because there's too many people. Because if I'm always doing it kind of off the cuff, ad hoc, I'm going to be biased. I'm going to reach out to my favorites, right? Um, you're all my favorites. And and it's like, so what I have to do is I have a block in my diary, customer success, and I have a checklist. And I will make sure that every person, and someone's going to catch me out on this, that every person gets contacted by me every 14 days.
Yeah. Well, you're
At
way
least I
more
can manage
organized.
that. What's that?
That's why you're successful and you're way more organized
Oh,
than I
shut
am.
up, Owen. You're more successful than me. And
That's his
no,
personal, Lawrence.
I'm just, I'm just fascinated. Like, 'cause like you said there, you shook your head like, maybe I do miss someone.
Yeah.
Is that because it's like, is that a problem? Do you find that you just get around to everyone eventually? How do you feel about that?
I have a very good sense of who needs to be contacted by me and who
Right.
is fine. And my team is so good. Like we do in Slack, this is one pretty adamant system that I will get irritated if my team doesn't do it. And they know this. Like in Slack, we have a client update channel, and I expect them, no news is good news. Like if really you've just got a bunch of regulars and everything's happening, fine, just say that. But client updates, I rely on them, especially for the clients that I don't see often. I'm never there before noon anymore, so I don't see a lot of the morning clients. So I love staying up to date. And so my teammates, it's up to them, 2 to 3 updates, just one-liners, whether it's workout related or life related, like as much as like, hey, someone had a real good breakthrough on their lower turnarounds on the leg press today. It didn't catch them launching once, or their cat died, or they broke their toe,
Mhm.
whatever, right? Or they just got fired or let go, or they got a new job, or their mom is in town. Any of these things. And then if it feels like to me like a follow-up from me would be good, then I have some information going into it. So that's a great system if you are in a similar size as I am. Even if you just have one other trainer with you, I highly encourage you to have some sort of client update system that's easy to do consistently. So you kind
Mm.
of have a pulse on the business and just what everyone's kind of emotional state is. So, um,
Yeah, so in that way, everyone is getting that focus, right? I think one of the things I
Yeah.
forgot to kind of say as we were talking about that is you have a team of people that are
Yeah.
looking after your clients. And so there
Yes.
isn't an expectation for you to check in with everyone. If
Right.
they're being looked after, right? And you've got a system there in place to like, keep some of the key updates top of mind for you. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. No,
Um,
the delegation is key with this. I
yeah,
can't possibly do it all on my own, but I mean, I think it is special. Like, whenever a new client now is signed up from another trainer, I'll always make an effort to text them directly from our software, say, hey, Bob, Owen, founder Live Oak here. Welcome to, I'm so excited to meet you. Reach out here anytime you need anything. We're here to support you. Looking forward to seeing you and meeting you.
cool.
Something just like that. These little touch points. Yeah.
Beautiful. So, building a great reputation, we talked about client check-ins. Are we skipping over just real fundamental stuff? Like, if you had to really break it down, like great
Mm.
workouts, right? Great customer service. Do you want to speak more on that side of it or other things that you think are really important for building a great reputation?
Yeah. I mean, you just have to be consistent and patient, right? You just kind of have to show up and you can't expect success overnight, even though, like we were saying earlier, it can happen a lot faster than it used to with access to new tools. Um, but yeah, just being consistent. And then I think key parts, which I've learned from a lot of colleagues in your membership, right, is like these pillars to a world-class workout and just giving specific feedback. I think, vague feedback doesn't really help anything. Specific feedback shows that you care and it's also useful. So I always train my trainers like at the end, like right as the client is finishing the last rep of their last exercise. Oftentimes for us, that's like low back machine or biceps and triceps, something like a little smaller. Go right into like something that client did well today. And I would argue that it's more powerful to even tell them something that they did well early on in the routine because it kind of will bring them back to the start. Like, hey, today, so like say they did like a hip focus legs first, then upper body, and then some like, low back and abs, something like that. They're finishing up on low back. I will immediately, when they're coming out of that, say, hey, great work today on hip abduction. I saw that you were getting a little bit more range of motion while overarching your back. It seemed like things were a lot more controlled there at the pause. Let's bring that focus every time we get on that machine going forward and even to all your other exercises, because that is perfect. So it's very specific, it's complementary, and it leaves something to look forward to and focus on for the next workout.
Yeah, it's like, hey, great job. Vague, doesn't
Vaguely.
care.
Not very
Yeah,
useful. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So,
Such a
and
powerful thing.
obviously, yeah. And the way you start the workout is really important too, making sure your check-in isn't like robotic or automatic every time. Like, really try to, however you want to do it, and every trainer has a different style, but make sure before the exercise starts that the client feels heard, that you're focused on them. And whether that's like, hey, maybe this is just top on mind, somebody who got really lightheaded last time. It's like, hey, when's the last time you eat and what'd you have? Let's make sure. Okay, I got juice boxes in the fridge if you need one. Make sure we're going to communicate. We can take a pause, get your blood sugar up, or whatever it is. Those little touch points are, I think, valuable as well.
Nice. Since we know that, a huge part of this business is about the workout, can you take us through what a session might look like? I know they're all different, but what a
Yeah.
normal session might look like from start to finish, including the kind of pre and post workout chit chat. Like, could you give us that like high level in like 2 minutes? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So,
Could be more than two
uh,
minutes, obviously.
we have We have the waiting room where people come in, and we have a rule, within 10 seconds, they need to be greeted by first name. That's non-negotiable. Like, you need
Nice.
to pop out of your chair, get your headphones out if they're on, and poke your head out from our like little curtain trainer lounge and say, hey, Bob, welcome back. Good to see you. Be right with you. If they're early, whatever it is. If it's right on time, then you just get out and greet them by name and get going. So warm welcome with their first name every time. And if you're busy and your client comes in, then it's on one of your teammates to make sure that they acknowledge the client you're training. Everyone needs to know everyone's name. That's really important at Live Oak. Um,
Every
and
trainer needs to know every client's name.
absolutely, it's on the opening checklist that everyone needs to scan the schedule, everyone's schedule. And if there's a name that you're not familiar with, you don't know the face right off the bat, then make a point of it at that time to be pretty alert and be like,
Got it.
okay, that's that person. And if you're still not sure, then say, hey, I'm Carlos. I don't believe we've met yet, or whoever it is, you know.
Sure, sure.
So a quick warm welcome, and then just yeah, we don't do a big pre-workout conversation, but it's always it's just always a check-in. Hey, do you need how you feeling today? I don't remember who it is in your membership, but I really like the simplicity of it. Is it's like instead of like because you kind of can't open the doors to a big sob story if it's like how you doing? Oh man, can waste time. So it's like close to 100% as I'll be. I don't need any modifications. Throw the kitchen sink at me. I'm doing pretty good. I don't think I need any modifications or I'm hurting. I didn't sleep at all. My back is all flared up. We probably need to take it down a notch today. So I'm trying right now to kind of implement that just to be more efficient. Um, and then we use tablets. Trainer should have the program open, dated, initialed at the top. And whoever trained them last should have put a note there, or at least in the recap. So if anything unique is going on in that client's life, it's front and center and on top of mind. And then we kind of the way the layout of the machines and the equipment is, we kind of got leg island in the back corner where all
Leg
single joint
island. I
leg
like that.
island. We got calf raise, leg extension, leg curl, hips, ABD and ADD, leg press right across the way. We've got our core spinal care line, the MedX, and then on the other side of the facility is all the compound upper body pushing and pulling, pull over, biceps, triceps in the middle of the facility. So we kind of break it up into 3 sections, plus like the little single joint in the middle of the biceps, triceps. So a typical workout might start on like ab crunch, and we'll take them to some form of legs, usually like 2 single joint and leg press. No one get that a leg press. Maybe we'll do some version of a squat or something. And then usually these days, I like alternating push, pull, and then finishing up. Maybe they want neck, maybe they want to do a little extra arm, triceps, biceps, low back, something like that. That's a typical routine for us.
How many
Which is
exercises is that on average, typically?
usually like 7 to 11, somewhere in that range, depending on the individual. Yeah.
And this is probably a good time to say this. So you were saying, I think you had mentioned it on this podcast already, but you've said it on previous podcasts, which is that, you've kind of discovered that one of the things we're selling is confidence, giving people more
Yeah.
confidence in their life, in their bodies. And that was kind of interesting for you because it brought you full circle. You were, selling yourself and becoming more confident. If you don't mind me saying so, you felt imposter syndrome. You and I joke, we're in the WhatsApp
Yeah.
group with Skylar Tanner and Dr. Bryce Lee, who are extremely, and Blair, I shouldn't, and James Fisher and others,
And Matt.
and Matt, yeah, who are all, and myself clearly know, extremely intelligent exercise professionals and yourself. And they can get really in the weeds, and I have no idea what anyone is saying. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's interesting to me because you have, sure, I mean, I don't even know how to put this, but you might not be at the level of them in terms of like their understanding of exercise science, although you're like, I just want to make it super clear, like you clearly know your stuff. Um, and yet you've built a very successful business and your clients are extremely happy and you've built a wonderful place for them to come and exercise and a great team. And we all know that, like, you don't have to be an exercise wizard to build a successful business. It's more about getting the right pieces in place, the right processes, the right culture, etc. But it's always been fascinating to me. And where I'm kind of going with this is, I when I see, tell me if this observation is accurate, but it looks like you've done a really great job of just simplifying the workout process because a lot of people in our space, I'm not talking about those guys in the group at all, but the wider community, I think spend a lot of time overthinking, overcomplicating the workout. And can you tell us what are your kind of criteria? Like what brand of hit, so to speak, are you providing?
Yeah.
And I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Where do you kind of draw the line? And we're not going to do that. We're going to stay within these, whatever it is, 5 or 6 protocols or whatever it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, butchered that question a small bit.
No, I've got a few points to make, and I'll probably lose track, so you have to bring me back. But one thing I think about a lot, and this is, I don't think I need to convince anyone and hit this, right, is there's nothing negative or wrong about cookie cutter workouts. There might be in the perspective of the client. And this is where I think we as a profession have an opportunity to educate the general population on what actually matters with getting results with exercise, right? A lot of people come in and think they need all these modifications. They've talked to an acupuncturist, a chiropractor, a physical therapist, an osteopath, and they have all these ideas coming in about what they need, and they need it tailored to them. And I can't go past 45 degrees of flexion in my spine, and like my serratus doesn't fire, my glutes aren't working, like all of these things, right? And if we can just make them feel validated and heard and get them to trust their body and feel better, um, you don't have to overcomplicate things. Does that kind of hit a point there?
It does. It does.
Yeah. And so really, I've given, and this is largely credit to Owen Monroy and just kind of fine tuning our systems on how to help our trainers look for things to coach and look for. So I think if you give your trainers detailed form cues and corrections to focus on, that builds the confidence. So like, for what am I talking about? Like, look for how the client is breathing or not breathing. Look for like when the set maybe hits, 45 seconds, 50, it's starting to get a little spicy. Look for what their signs are that they're struggling and where their mind is going to go. So are they going to break posture? Are they going to start wiggling, flaring, kicking their legs, wiggling? Look for that stuff. Watch the turnarounds, make sure that they're consistently smooth. They're not making decisions that's making the set harder on themselves. So I think that's my brand of hit, is just, it's very simple. It's back to the basics. Yes, we do some AOTs, some heavy negatives, force reps, a few here and there. But I hear my trainers say this, and I say it all the time, like, we'll be super honest with them. I'm like, this is just sizzle. We could stop you when you fail to lift with good form. I don't have to count down from 10. I'm notorious for being the slowest counter. People hate training with me because I joke with them, but I count in metric seconds, and it's a lot slower than formal seconds. That's my dad joke humor coming out.
Love it.
But yeah, having kind of just some like real education points for the clients on, I guess it's what I'm trying to really say in long story short, is give them 90% what they need and 10% what they want. Yeah.
Nice.
So if we have a little extra time, I'll hear my trainer saying, hey, good job. We finished up today with some really good weights and times, great form improvements. We got a little extra time. What kind of body part you feel like you want to hit a little bit extra today? Just a little dealer's choice to make it fun. Even though exercise shouldn't be fun, right? Gary Bannister. So,
Oh, well,
yeah.
with some caveats.
Yeah.
Um, yes, this is very interesting. Yeah. So, on this subject of simplification, which I think you do well, right, so well right across the business, and I think this is one of the reasons why you've been able to build what you have. Um, I noticed something. You used to be called Live Oak Strength and Nutrition back in the day, didn't you?
And I
Just me
did.
going
I
back through the
forgot that.
podcast archives, and
Yeah.
I'm guessing you called it that because you had nutrition background
Yep.
and you thought that would make it more valuable. Tell us
Yep.
about getting rid of that and that transition away from doing nutrition.
simplicity scales, complexity fails.
Look at
And
that. Look at that.
I, right? Um, just want to be known for being the best, or not even the best, but like the most meaningful, like I was saying, place to strength train, nothing else. And it's just make it, it just literally made it easier on myself not to have to think about nutrition programming. Um, you don't need to do it all. You just need to do one thing. So I'm grateful for many mentors in our space that kind of gently pushed me toward dropping the and nutrition. It's a lot nicer. I don't have to type it out. It's not as long, but yeah, just make it easier on yourself.
Yeah.
And that part of why my programming is simple. I do have Strength Portal. We do have dozens of different programs and templates and workouts, but I often find when I'm renewing an art or archiving a program, a 12-week program, and re-enrolling a client in another program, I'm always drawn to our kind of two standard protocols, unless the client really has some other, special desires and needs and programs, or they've been coming to us for a lot, and we just want to kind of mix things up for the sake of fun and variety because they've earned it through their
Hmm.
consistency and their intensity and their progression. Um, but I'm always just going back to, I'm like, yeah, probably like two legs, leg press. Let's do pullover, dip, row, lateral raise, and low back. That like I'm not doing it.
Standard protocol is what, like 2-4 or 10-10 or like,
Yeah, it's I took this from Chuck Bixby, who I'm super excited is coming to visit and train a bunch of clients starting on Saturday again. Shout out
oh,
to Chuck. He would observe what the client's natural tendency of cadence was, and he would count in his head alone. And Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I remember you telling me this. And then he would start counting aloud, like on the second or third rep, to keep them accountable to the cadence they're already doing, if he liked it and if he approved of it, right? If it was appropriate and safe. Um, so we don't really have a standard protocol, just whatever seems fluid. And so they're avoiding ratcheting and segmentation, and they're not, all the standard stuff. They're not using momentum on the positive, and they're not letting gravity steal the tension from them on the negative. I'm happy with whatever controlled movement kind of naturally happens. Um, I do enjoy at the end some finishers, like some really long 15, 20, 30-second negatives. Maybe they reach failure with not so hot form and then, or with great form, but they need a little extra. I'll add some weight, pull it down for them and make them do a long negative, something, some kind of sizzle like that.
nice.
Mm.
So you were interesting. So you were obviously there's a lot of emphasis in our space. People think you have to do nutrition. They think you need to help people with weight loss from a diet point of view in their exercise facility. And I push back against that pretty hard. I know you probably do as well in our
Yeah.
space. Was that difficult for you? Like, I'm guessing you were doing nutrition, so you probably had a bunch of clients you were helping with that service.
It
Can you
never really
remember?
took a lot of my time.
Okay.
It ended up just being what we kind of do now. Like, I mean, I had handouts and a couple things that I was doing and, helping clients, but it wasn't, I don't think I ever actually charged extra for it. It was just kind of included. So that was one reason I dropped. I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm not charging more for it. It's more work. And it's also not really helping the client as much as I think it should. So, we made a distinction like, we're going to just help you get as strong as possible. If you want extra professional guidance on nutrition, you should go see a professional dietitian. Um, I can tell you roughly how much protein I think you should be hitting every day. We've got the InBody. I'm grown more and more skeptical of the accuracy of that thing over the years. But hopefully at least the margin of error is consistent and we can use it to track trends. But yeah, we really just focus on protein, calories, and I can see what their BMR is and do some calculations to figure out what their total daily energy expenditure is if they want to lose weight. We can do that pretty quickly, but it is one of those 80-20 things where I'm like 80% of the like technical glitches or problems I have to solve are probably InBody and Carol bike related, not strength training related.
Hmm.
Um, so it's like it's not that big of a problem. I'm not wasting a ton of time doing it, but when there is a technical glitch, 80% of the time it's probably because the in-body is not starting or the Carol bike isn't connecting to the Wi-Fi.
Right. Got it. Got it. Interesting. But yeah, but overall, obviously, the simplification is a theme in your business. Remove nutrition, focus just on the strength training primarily.
Yep.
Even your pricing and packaging has become very simplified. Um, One-on-one only. You ever tempted to go down the small group path?
Tempted, yeah, but never pulled the trigger. And
I love that. I'm not
yeah,
criticizing it. I'm just curious,
yeah.
like how have you come to that decision?
I just think again, the type of client we attract deserves one-on-one,
Okay.
and they're not looking for group classes. They can go do that elsewhere. So I think, maybe I'm missing out on profit from that or opening up the doors to like a lower price point. But I am very happy with just keeping it simple with one-on-one, same price for everyone, regardless of what frequency they are coming in, once, twice, rarely 3 times a week, but sometimes people do come in 3 times a week. A half hour on Live Oak Strength's calendar is worth the same to us, regardless of how many times that client comes. A half hour of our time should be worth the same.
Hmm.
So, um, we've trained this wonderful woman and her 2 daughters for a long time, and one of them just graduated high school. She just finished her first semester in college, and she came back for a workout, but we didn't have space for her. Like we didn't have her spot was kind of gone. So I was like, Ben, she's coming back from college. What do you feel about just training her at the same time as his sister? He's like, let's can do it. Like, and he just did it. And he had so much fun, and it was new for him. And I was training the mom, and they're great. I mean, we've established such a long-term relationship with them. She's friends with my wife. They've hung out outside of Live Oak. So it's a really fun relationship. So we did it for that, and it was fun, you know.
Okay.
Didn't charge
Was that
extra
like a
for it.
one-off? Okay,
It was
got
a
it.
one-off. She's here for the holidays, back from college, and she'll be gone
Yeah.
mid-January. So I hope we can see her a couple more times while she's still here. I know she wants to get back in. So she
Awesome.
trained with us since she was 13, I believe, 14, all through high school. Yeah.
Oh wow. That's so cool. I want to shift gears and talk about like where you see people making mistakes in our space. Yeah, every now and again, you and I will have we'll exchange voice notes, and I'll be like, "Oh, this is happening," and I see these people struggling with this, and like it's driving me crazy. And
Yeah.
I'm just curious, what your experience is when you look at the rest of our industry and those who are struggling, um, what you make of that. What comes to mind for you?
First thing that comes to mind is, this, and I'll admit, I'm sometimes feel very lonely just in life as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. Um, and building a business on your own is like, I think, it's one of the most rewarding things you can do, but it's one of the most scary and risky things you can do too, right? I mean, you really put yourself in a vulnerable position financially. Um, Depending on, I don't know if you have a silver spoon or not, but I think like I could right now after this call, I could probably, if I wanted to or needed to, I could call up 50, 60 alumni clients of Live Oak and get like 10 or 15 of them back in. If I want it. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying that I've put myself in a position where I have such a big network, and um I've burned a few bridges, but I not too many, right? Like, so everyone who doesn't work out with us, it's usually because they move or financial reasons. Um, but you have to put yourself in a position where you're known, where you have a network. I just don't know how I would run Live Oak if I hadn't of, and it doesn't have to be BNI. You just have to build relationships with people and get to know them on a deep level so that you have resources and people that you can rely on um, to help. And I think that's one of the most like beneficial things you could do as a business owner, but you have to back up and be humble. You have to be willing to ask for help. I think maybe, and this could be a huge assumption, I think maybe some people in our industry just kind of don't feel comfortable with that, or maybe there's a little ego. Not pointing fingers at anyone. No one's really coming to mind. These are just
No, 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 we're not here
possible
to
ideas,
call
right?
out call out any names
Yeah.
and that. But this is interesting. Willing to ask for help. Do you mean willing to ask for help from our community or
Just in general, I think as a
in general?
personality
Yeah.
trait, right? You know, the old adage that men will never ask for direction.
Right, right,
Like
right.
maybe too too much ego to like ask, pull over and get directions. So I think you got to drop that kind of mindset, and I guess it's not asking for help, but it's checking in and having that network. And how did I grow the network? Well, BNI, it's farming, it's not hunting, right? It took me 10 years to build this. I don't want to say excessive network, but a network that's bigger than I need to have a profitable business. So like not everyone I know or who've trained has to be currently an active pass holder at Live Oak Strength. We've got a pool to call upon, and I try my best to stay connected to them as we grow. And right now it's, that when I feel that pressure of, oh, it's starting to be a struggle to get people the spots they want, that's probably my cue to hire. I mean, I can look at kind of more data and look at the actual numbers of capacity percentages,
Mhm.
which I've gotten better at in the years. But usually it's just a feeling I know. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm having too many of these conversations and struggle finding people spots. So, um, yeah, and Luke said it a million times, right? Like the conversations he's had. Oh, I got the workout down. I just need to work on the marketing.
Just gonna mention.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. The workout is the marketing. I mean, it is the product you're selling, and if it's not remarkable, people aren't going to talk about it.
Yeah. Well said. Thank you for inserting that in there. You got me thinking there, like you say, it doesn't have to be BNI, but BNI is so powerful. Like it's like instant network in a way. Like
Yeah,
quick side note, Owen has been extremely generous and provided lots of BNI resources like 60-second scripts. Do you remember you even gave us a PDF on like how to do BNI in like 5 hours a week, which was super
yeah,
useful.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, and I was in BNI. I've been in BNI in multiple careers in a personal training business. So I've got my own playbooks too. And we've put all of this in a post in the HIB school community. If you're in the free community, I'll make sure it's there as well. Just DM me. But if you want to join our community, the link will be below. What is it? School.com/HIB -free. And we just got one post and it's got like all the BNI networking, like blueprints and resources. So useful. And it got me thinking like, I moved to Galway. I had no real network, very small network. And I joined a BNI instant network, right? Because I'm like one-to-oneing with all these people in this network. You're all incentivized to help each other. They're introducing me to people. I'm getting referrals.
yeah.
Um,
There's
and
structure around it, right? You can
yeah,
network in a multitude of ways, but the thing I appreciated about BNI was it forces you to talk about your business with other business owners all the time. So you just
yeah,
naturally get tangible skills that are actually useful and profitable, not just like, oh, I'm going to post this next door post, or like I'm working on copy for this Facebook ad. That's useful. It's probably good. You're involved with your business, but engaging, we're a customer service business. That's what high intensity training is, right? I mean, the workout is the tangible service, but it's relational. So talking about your business in front of real people on a regular structured basis, I don't know if there's anything more valuable that you could learn how to do well.
yes, you're
You know,
absolutely right. You're
the-
learning.
it's the real thing. You're learning the sales of hit in BNI, that 30-second pitch, one-to-ones, helping other, business owners grow their business. You'll kind of see how other people in different industries run their business, which can be you can learn a lot and take away from them as
Absolutely.
well.
And there'll always be like you were saying, there'll always be some people in the chapter who aren't, showing up late, aren't really
Yeah.
getting very far in their business. And then there'll be a couple of people who are like really crushing it. And you can see
Yeah.
a huge difference in the way they present themselves, the way they speak. And it's like you're saying, it's like even when you're like, the meeting hasn't started, but you're just making coffee and someone says, "What do you do again?" And
Yeah.
you've got another opportunity then to like sharpen your pitch. And
Yeah.
I think one of the things you're really good at as well is reflecting and like, you look back at, oh, when so and so asked you what I did, how did I come across? Could I have made that tighter? And it's like you're constantly
Yeah.
sharpening the saw. Like you're doing that in training, but you're also doing it in the way you talk about what you do in these networking groups and BNI.
Yeah.
Um, how else, as well as BNI, which I think could be like the one thing people could just double down on to really like build a community and, build that reputation. Is there anything else that you would add to that? Obviously, you mentioned world-class workouts. The workout is the marketing, great customer service. If you've got trainers, you've got to have systems where they know how to greet a customer, ask quite the right questions, cue the workout, et cetera, et cetera. Is there anything else you think goes into building that community, which I guess is an extension of this reputation that we talked about before?
Yeah. Nothing comes to mind immediately. No, I think you nailed it. Just teaching your teammates, if you are, a multi-person company, if you're not just a solo, but teaching your teammates the value of emotional intelligence and being great listeners and tuning into what that person's state of mind is at any given moment, which some might argue is not a teachable skill, right? EQ, but I think you can definitely improve upon it. And I'll give you an example. I subbed for one of my trainers the other day, or I was training somebody I hadn't trained in probably 3 or 4 months. Nothing she said, no spoken communication, but I got her, we started on rotary torso, and the weight that was on the chart from the previous workout improvements, I could tell within a second was just way too heavy. Like it just wasn't going to work for her that day. Like, I mean, it was just bad. Like Valsalva out of the gates, just it wasn't going to work. So I adjusted pretty much everything down 10, 15%. And the weights I selected were perfect. Her form was great. She felt challenged and she hit fatigue in 75 seconds, 90 seconds on most things. Had I gone with the numbers that were on the chart, it would have just been like, I think she would have felt defeated. Not that every client would have felt defeated by that, but I know her personality pretty well.
Mhm.
So I knew what she needed. And that's just from building relationships for years, right? So that's something I try to teach my trainers, to tune in to what the client needs and is capable of in that moment. Because we all know, right? This is never a linear process. It's just about showing up consistently. Sometimes you hit a home run, sometimes you don't, but you got to show up as a client and just teach them that value. Um, so I think that's like one of the key marketing like things that everyone in our community should just double down on to build their network and reputation.
Yeah, awesome.
Do that. Yeah.
Do you mind if we spend 10 or 15 more minutes here? I've got a few other things I want
Yeah.
to. Yeah, is
Totally
that cool?
fine. Yep.
So going back to this idea, this topic of like where are people making mistakes? I did record a podcast recently with Luke about the 21, was it 21 habits mistakes that like hurt revenue or whatever it was called,
Yeah.
which
It was
was
a great conversation. I enjoyed listening to that one.
yeah, thank you. And Luke does a phenomenal job. I basically didn't have to say a word because I just felt like there's nothing here really I feel needs challenging. I feel this is really quite coherent and true. Um, I guess what we don't talk about a lot, I don't think, in that podcast was mindset and attitude. And what I see quite a bit of is just closed-mindedness. Oh, that doesn't work. I've tried that. No, that doesn't work. And sometimes I'm like, and I'm one of these people, I just will not give in. Like, I'll just like, even if someone's really annoying me or, they're just saying no to everything I say, I'm like, I will help you somehow, you know,
Yeah.
to my own detriment, probably. And maybe that's because I'm always thinking about like, frankly, I just want to be someone who builds something that's really helpful and valuable. But I just don't want to let anyone down, I guess. But it's like, where am I going with that? It's like, what do you make of that attitude piece? Because you're it's like an open-mindedness that you and other people have, like a can-do attitude that
Mm,
I think is the difference sometimes. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah. Let me think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one for me to speak on because for me, and I think we've talked about this several times, um, success is super personal. Um, and definitely the attitude piece is there. And maybe one of the things to watch out for if you're in Lawrence's community is how easy it is to want to copy other people, right?
Mm.
And I think we all influence each other, and that's really the value of what you've created. Um, but maybe I am just a naturally reflective person. I always ask myself, how does this apply to me? Does this apply to me? How much of this, like what percentage of this is applicable to me right now where I'm at in Live Oak Strength's journey? Um, so just being a problem solver. And like you said, don't give up on the first try. Like if you are one of those people that says BNI doesn't work, well, like maybe you didn't work. You didn't work it. BNI works. I mean, we have so much data of how many people have gone in there and made money. Like if you do it the right way, it it's I'm a music major. Like I'm not a business major. I didn't go to school to build a business. Like I just kept going, right? So like try it, and be humble enough to realize you know, you're not going to succeed on your own. You've got to reach out. You've got to build a network. You've got to learn from other people. You've got to reflect. And then, I did reflect, and this is something I learned from a business coach is like reflecting, you don't want to always look back, but looking back is so key to your happiness because I never feel like I'm there yet, right? Like I am so always focused on what the shortcomings of Life Oak are, what systems I just can't seem to get my act together with. This could be better, this could be better, this could be better. But if I don't look back and be like, oh my gosh, like 10 years ago, Lucy and I, between the two of us, had 5 jobs and we're struggling. And now, so you
Mm.
have to look back to enjoy the process, because there's no there. So uh, I hope I didn't just totally ramble
No,
and
I love it.
somebody
I love
finds
it when
something
you ramble completely off topic.
useful about some of this nonsense I just uttered out. But
No, it is. It is.
yeah,
I guess I'm also trying to figure this out myself. That's why I'm asking you. Because I do think there's a number of individuals in our own space, and it's really understandable. Like, let's be clear, like it's really hard. It's really hard to grow a business, and hit is really can be really lonely, right? Because we're often miles apart from each other. Um, so no wonder we can kind of like get a bit negative, get down on ourselves, or get in our own way at times. Um, yeah, I guess I'm still figuring some of this out as well. Go
I
ahead.
mean, since I know we're close to the end of our conversation, I think, if we can like kind of review and like the main messages or points of our conversation that I would hope people will walk away with. Um, Go deep, not wide, right? You don't have to serve everyone. Don't. I love your conversation with Tony, it's a newer guy to the
Oh
membership.
yeah, Sam
But
Bofi. Yeah.
learning from you, man. Great conversation. Like that guy it's so like the minute that conversation started, I'm like, I understand why that guy is successful. He's gone through struggle, hardship, and he cares so deeply about his clients. Like, I'm not going to turn people away from money. Like, I, you know, that's another podcast, but like that guy cares. And he's never, you can just be like, that guy's going to just keep going no matter what, right? He's unstoppable. So, um, go deep, not wide. um, Figure out what success is for you. And in order to do that, I think look back and realize how far you've come and try to learn from your mistakes. It's not always a given that you're going to learn from your mistakes. stay humble, ask for help. And I think, just like the number one thing is like, don't try to build a business, try to be useful and help other people. Like, fuck business. That's boring. Help people, like, give a shit. Like, it's not about, and then you can charge a premium like we do because we care. And our clients, I hope, and if they ever hear this, if a client hears this, I hope we care like
Oh, I think
so
they do, mate.
about,
I think they do.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think you can't go wrong with that, and just give it time, patience, and consistency. Show up all the time. I don't know how you can go wrong with that, but I think someone could do all those things and still not succeed. So there's going to be things we can't touch on in this conversation. There's going to be other things. Uh,
I guess you're just increasing the likelihood. Is a better way
but
of putting it.
these are things I think that are in your control, that
Mhm.
you can really increase the likelihood that you'll create something really special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what dovetails quite nicely into this is like my assessment of you, Owen, and what makes you special. This is what I was touching on before we got recording. You can tell me if I feel this is accurate, but just listening to you, talking to you all these years, I always feel like you're always trying to learn. You're always trying to improve. I'm saying this because I think like this is useful for others to hear because it might help them unlock something in them. So I feel you're always trying to learn. You're always trying to improve. You always keep an open mind. Even in the community, I wrote something about like the optimal billing model for auto pay for studios. And you were like, you pushed back a little bit and said, yeah, we've got it this way, but I'm always open minded. We'll see. And it's just the fact that you're open to it. But then, like you say, you're reflecting on it. Does that make sense for me? Yes or no? And then take action accordingly. So I think that's the first thing I noticed with you. But then here's the big one. This is like the big one, mate. You execute. You go like this. You hyper focused. So there's a few things here. You know where you need to focus in your business. You know what's a waste of your time, and you know where you need to focus to grow, and you put your attention there. Then you go into HRB Pro or some other resource, not just my resources, but you like learn what you need to know, and then you go and implement and execute. And I think
Yeah.
it's actually your ability to execute that makes you different. Because I think if I look at a lot of our colleagues, sometimes they and again, it's difficult. It's really hard to get out of that. Like you're training clients, you're fighting fires, training clients, fighting fires. You're never doing important, not urgent stuff. And I feel like you've always made the time to do important, not urgent. Like you're familiar with time management tactics and like Cal
Yeah.
Newport and time blocking and deep work. Like you talk about these things. And I know that you've gone through phases where you have like, right, I'm blocking 90 minutes to do X. So you are quite thoughtful about doing stuff like that and focusing on the things that need to be focused on. So even though I think some people think Owen Dockham is super chill and laid back and calm, I think you have that obviously persona. You're actually
Yeah.
extremely like hyper focused and a strong executioner, I was going to say, but that sounds off. You're very good at executing. So is that a fair assessment of some of the things that got into your success, do you think? I mean, that's what I observe.
That's
Yeah.
very generous. Yes, but there's seasons. And
Sure. Sure.
I actually feel like I struggle a lot being consistent with the things you just complimented me on. I do them. I go through seasons though, and there might be weeks where I don't do any deep work and I'm just treading water, fighting fires, covering scheduling work. Like I've been doing a lot of just like important schedule work, like kind of planning 2026 right now. And it's probably not the best use of my time. It's something I'm really good at. I can hold a lot of people's like names and schedules in my mind, and I have a spreadsheet for it. And like I can like problem solve. I call it like Tetris, schedule Tetris. And people like will joke at Live Oak. They know that I can figure it out. Like if someone's like, yeah, I can't do 5 anymore. Can I get 4? And I'm like, nope, but I'm going to figure it out. And usually 9 times out of 10, I'm like, oh yeah, that person mentioned that they could do Tuesdays. They're pretty flexible. And I just like, I don't know. My brain just works that way where I can see 4 or 5 moves at once and come up with a solution for
I
people.
have none of that power, just to be, yeah,
Well,
just to mention.
this is and
Strengths
it's
and
another
weaknesses.
lesson, right? Is like lean into your strengths and use them. So I do delegate some of that to my
Mhm.
team, but this is one of those things where I can do it, I enjoy it, and I can do it really quickly, and it is efficient, and it's meaningful, and it moves the business forward. It gets people on the
Nice.
book. So I qualify that as an income producing activity, right? I'm literally booking people out, like filling in the gaps, having as little breaks as possible. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
definitely
And
not
what's that?
perfect on an 80s.
No.
The ebbs and flows. I
Wait,
struggle with
here's
focus, all
here's
those
the
things.
thing. We've not even talked about much about your family life. Life happens. You've been
Yeah.
through, and your family have been through so many challenges over the last, 6, 7 years. Um, and this is the important point to mention is even though you've gone through seasons of treading water, seasons of maybe even a small downturn, losing trainers, um, all the things your daughter has gone through, um, you know, other personal challenges. It's like, in spite of that, you've trended up. And it's really inspiring because it's like we're all going to go through stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like, just think about things over the long term. Don't be concerned that, like, when stuff happens, that everything's just all for naught. It's not. You will kind of trend up so long as you stick with it and do what you can. And it's okay to have periods where things don't go, because I just think that's normal for most of us. You know what I mean? If you've got families, like, stuff happens, you know?
We all have
Yeah.
unique stories and journeys, right? Like, I mean, we
Yeah.
started, I lost my dad in high school. I went to a random liberal arts college in the Midwest on a whim. I met Dr. James Martin, my piano teacher, who became kind of the first like male father figure since my dad passed away, and really instilled discipline and joy into my work. Kind of gave me like a framework to how he lived his life that I've always taken with me. Like, he kind of had this diagram. I think he did it more than once when I was his piano student, but he would draw. Screw it, I'll just draw it right now. It's super easy. So it's like, just like, the light. It's like a
A
road,
road.
right? Yeah. And he would say, hey, on this, this side of the road is discipline, hard work, focus. This side of the road of life, right? This is like chaos, sex, drugs, rock and roll, partying, like just letting loose, fun, right? And then this is just like the center. So he's like, you don't want to live life in the center because you'll miss out on the extremes of like the rewards of hard work. You don't want to spend your whole life on this side. You'll end up in jail or dead or no friends and an outcast. And he's like, you don't want to live life like this either, because then you'll still you don't want to live on one side, the other, or back. So he's like, I live my life like this, where I go in seasons of hard work, but all the way, I never go over the edge, right? And then go to that. So that's kind of like, that
That's so
seems
interesting.
like a really natural way of where I live my life. And it just seems like a natural, a real way people live, and not like trying to put themselves up on this pedestal and stress themselves out about being perfectly focused all the time and being productive. You got to be a human. You got to enjoy the short time we have on earth, right? So there's a lot more to business. I love my business. I enjoy it. I don't feel like I work, but I also don't um, live to work. I work so I can live. So, because there's other
Yeah.
things that I'm interested in.
No, I love that analogy. Thanks for sharing that. Do you mind if we talk about how becoming a parent has changed your view of success? Because I feel like that's pretty important.
Yeah. I think it's just, I mean, this is a quick, easy answer. It's less about chasing numbers and growth and more about quality of life for me,
Hmm.
and connection. Uh, we could have reached 200 workouts a week a long time ago if that had been the thing I was wanting to achieve. And I am wanting to achieve that. That is kind of our big goal. But I've also want to grow. I want to earn that, right? Like, and what I mean by that is I always tell my new trainers, like, I want you to get really good at managing 5 clients before you can be good at managing 10 clients, then 15, then 20, right? And here's my standards for that. And it is those check-ins and follow-ups. So if you can't do that with 5, you can't do that with 40. So I think for me, having, a special needs daughter with a lot of medical complexities, our life, that was a surprise. That's something the hospital missed at the 20 weeks. So it was like completely, we were blindsided that when she was born.
Yeah.
Lots of gifts in that process. We wouldn't take back a moment of it, the whole thing. It's just been, she's an incredible teacher, so to speak. But it's really more about quality over quantity, which hit naturally is, right? Um, and just making sure that I stay true to myself and not try to copy other people's version of success, because I've got my unique situation and priorities and core values and family needs and dynamics and friendships and responsibilities that nobody else has that specific combination. So be super honest with yourself on what success is to you. And yeah, so less about the numbers and more about the quality of life, less about chasing money and more about like, well, what can my business do to support these hobbies and goals and family time that I want to make sure I take advantage of. That to
Mm.
me is the biggest thing that having kids has brought in, and, evolving in my marriage with Lucy, and learning the two of us to navigate all the um, services for special needs kids that in California are actually quite outstanding, but still
Right.
a pain in the butt to navigate through all these systems. So just, she's our priority. Our kids are our priority. So, learning how Live Oak fits into all that, not to try to fit my life into Live Oak. Right.
Yeah. Profound. And yeah, for anyone who's listening to this who is like want to learn more about Owen and Lucy and Live Oak, please do join our free community. Link below. There's a really great post that I've already mentioned that Owen wrote about, how he was able to grow this business, and some really what I'm trying to get to is some really great photos of your studio, but also the family. So they can
Right.
really put a face to the name as to what you're referring to. And it's amazing for me as well just to hear you talk about this, because I've seen this whole thing unfold, and I've, been on the end of the phone or listened to a voice note from you, or when you've received some really negative news, and listened to how you've coped with that in that moment. And it's been inspiring to listen to that and to see you like evolve as a person. And like you say, one thing you said that was really profound was she's a great teacher. Like Honor Heat's been a great teacher to you guys.
Yeah.
Getting emotional now. Okay. Um, so
I brought
uh
these for you, Lawrence.
thanks. Yeah. We're a bit far away to use those, but thank you. No, this has been an amazing conversation, mate. I appreciate it. Any kind of like final message you want to leave the audience? In particular, like
Yeah.
this theme of, you know, and I know you're so modest that you struggle to answer this because you've really nailed this business in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of it comes down to the simplicity, going really narrow and deep on marketing, like just really getting good at one thing like BNI, keeping the business really simple, being really caring, really giving a shit about your clients and their outcomes and their experience.
Yeah.
And like, and also just being a good person. Like, I always feel like you're trying to be a great father, a great husband, a great person to anyone you might interact with. Like whenever I introduce you to anyone in our community who wants to speak to you, they're always shocked like that you're receptive and you'll make time for people because, oh,
Yeah.
Owen's so busy and whatever. But I'm like, yeah, but he just wants to help. So maybe I've
Well,
put words in your mouth, but like, what would be your final message to people? Do you think to inspire them?
yeah. So not as any authority or anything, but just to be helpful, I am Owen at liveoakstrength.com. If anyone wants to email me, I love talking about this. I love trying to be helpful. I hope, whenever I talk to someone, I'm usually humbled by what they're doing. I'm like, why are you calling me? You've got this. But yeah, that would just be my closing note, I guess, on this whole conversation is, another quote we can end it on that I love is Ram Dass. We're all just walking each other home. I love that quote so much.
Right.
And I think in our community, like if we continue all to help each other, I think the profession will become more respected, and we'll all just make a greater impact. So stay open-minded, ask for help, connect, give a shit, keep going, don't give up. All those things matter. We're doing
I
good
love
work.
it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we'll end with Doug Holland because I love that guy. There's interactions to be had, right? I always think Skylar, I think, told me that that was Doug's. I heard from Skylar first, but I love that. And whenever I'm having a bad day, or if you're having a bad day, remember that. Like, what a gift it is to go interact with people and kick their ass, like with a hard workout. Like, it's a pretty cool way to spend time, and it
Oh, that's
matters.
so
Like,
true.
matters, right? And like the acute benefits matter, the long-term benefits matter. It all matters. So just show up with your full heart, and I think you'll create something meaningful. And then, look at your mindset and your psychology to reflect on how successful you probably already are, because we're all our own harshest critics, right? So you got to spend some time to reflect on how far you've probably come a lot farther than you think. So spend time in silence, journal to reflect on those things, because I guarantee you'll realize, like, oh yeah, I've figured out more than I thought.
Wise words. Thank you for ending on that note. So, um, if anyone would like to learn more about Live Oak, liveoakstrength.com, Owen at liveoakstrength.com, if you want to email Owen. Thank you so
Okay.
much for
Fun,
carving
Lawrence.
out 2 hours of your day to do this podcast.
Pleasure's mine, truly.
I really
Mine.
appreciate it.
And
Yeah.
thanks for all you've done for our community. Like, you are one of the big key players, man. We're all so lucky you decided to make this community, because you're the bridge builder, and we're all stronger together with you. So thank you.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. This is Lawrence with High Intensity Business. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.